Do you experience knee, hip, or back pain when squatting? The squat is a basic movement pattern of the human body, but sometimes we experience some pain when performing this movement. Improving your form can often help alleviate the pain and improve your activities of daily living. I'm Coach Lani, a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. In today's video, I'm going to discuss proper squat form and ways to alleviate pain when performing this movement. I'll cover three main topics. First, the common mistakes I see and how you can identify them. Two, the causes and how you can correct it. And last, how a proper squat should look and feel. Let's dive in. It's important to identify any muscle imbalances or improper movement patterns before adding any weight. So, let's look at the most common. Number one I see is knees caving in. So I'll often ask a client to stand facing me, arms overhead, and squat. You see how that knee is caving in? That's so common. And often I see this performed when someone has a weight or a barbell on their back. The next one that I see so many times are raising up onto your toes. So we'll start in our squat pattern. And you see how my heels are coming up? And so what happens in that position is all of the load of my body is going onto my knee joint. That's not where a squat's supposed to happen. It's an indication that I'm not balanced. The next one is a lack of depth. And I see this more often than not when someone does add that weight. They're squatting to here and back up. And so they're failing to achieve the full range of motion. The last movement imbalance that I see quite often is leaning over. So in that position, raising up, leaning over as you come back up. And so, as I said, it's important to identify these proper or improper movement patterns before adding weight to prevent injury or pain. So let's talk about the different causes and what can cause it. First, that knee cave. And again, I do see this a lot when that weight is overhead. Squatting down just fine, coming up, driving those knees in. So that's generally an indication that your hips or glute muscles are weak. Specifically the glute medius, which runs along the side and helps abduct or pull the leg or rotate the leg out away from the body. So the way to help strengthen those muscles, take that resistance band and place it about 2 inches above the knee. Feet flat on the floor, and go ahead and perform a squat as low as you can, driving those knees out. So that resistance band will help keep your knees from caving in because your body is going to want to drive those knees out. And as you do that, you'll definitely feel those glutes right along the side. You'll feel that activation. So perform that body weight a few times, especially during the warm-up before a squat. And you should notice some improvement if your knee is caving in. The second, the toe raising up on to your toes and putting a lot of load on the knee. I've trained a lot of people in person and online over the years. 99% of the time when my client says, "Lani, my knees hurt when I squat." Well, of course they do. So let's fix that. There are many, many different reasons that this could be the case. More often than not, it's just failure to understand how the body is moving and how it should move when squatting. So I ask my clients to stand with a box, on the corner of a box, feet anchored, hip width apart, toes slightly pointed out. Calf muscles should be right up against that box. And I say, have a seat. This is what I see. So do you see what just happened here? I went up on my toes and my knees traveled way out from that box. So instead, let's train sitting and using and recruiting those glute muscles in that squat. Here's how it should look. And many times you'll feel like it's going to fall, you're going to fall over. But keep your calf muscles right up close to that box and sit back. So depending on where you're at with this movement pattern, you might want a box that's a little taller, but no taller than where the crease in your knee is. So focus on keeping those calf muscles right in line with that box as you sit down, chest up, core tight. Another reason people will raise up on their toes is a lack of balance. So the squat isn't just a lower body movement, it's a core movement too. So making sure you're executing it properly will strengthen your core muscles and help improve balance. The next common movement pattern that I see performed incorrectly is a lack of depth. So right here, and we're stopping and not going all the way down. Now this ties into that heel raising up as well, because a lot of times if my client is to go any deeper, they go up on their toes. That's likely an indication of tight calf muscles or lack of ankle mobility. So making sure you don't skip the warm-up, and also work on flexing and stretching those calf muscles. And you can do this any number of ways, but making sure you warm up those ankles prior to squatting, and that'll definitely help increase your ankle mobility and your technique on that movement pattern. Last, leaning over. So I covered this a moment ago, is I'll ask my clients to stand up, hands overhead, and this is something you could do on your own, and to squat, but I see a big lean over. And that's often an indication of tight hip flexors. So what happens when we sit all day long, we're in this seated position, our hip flexors tighten, shorten, or they're weak. So stretching them and doing the dynamic movements to help the flexibility of your hip flexors. So alternating lateral lunge is great. Also, at the end of a workout, when you're stretching your quads, instead of out here, bring those knees together, drive your hips forward, and that'll help stretch that out. That stretching comes at the end of the workout. So lots of different ways you can help alleviate any muscular imbalances, simple fixes, but it'll help prevent injury and certainly alleviate pain when performing the movement. So last, what should a proper squat look like? There's some rules you may have heard. Knees should never go over the toes. Not necessarily. So depending on your structure, you may have longer femurs. I'm vertically challenged. I'm just under 5 feet tall. So when I squat, I'll squat down and I'm in that tripod position. So my heel and the ball of my foot is in contact with the ground. My chest is up, my core is tight, and my pelvis is neutral, not arched up, not sunken in. So right here, and you can see that my toes and knees are in line. However, if you're a taller person or have longer femurs, you could have proper squat form and that knee might extend over your toes. So how it should look, feet about hip width to shoulder width apart. Toes forward or slightly out turn, chest up, pelvis neutral, core tight, driving straight down and straight back up. Proper squat form. Obviously, this video isn't a comprehensive assessment of a squat, but it touches on the main points, and I hope that it helps you better perform this movement. I'm Coach Laney. If you have any questions or want to send me a video, I'll be glad to review your form. Coach Laney at GetRealWithLaney.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Coach Laney, a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. Have a great day.